like, you're in this type of, as an artist, you're actually making music where you guys get to perform your art when you go on a tour, like a 2005 tour, big tour. My question to you is just basically, do you see these things that you've created, much like your children, in that as time goes by, they change, they evolve? Like, well, let me give you a reference. I saw you guys in Hamilton, and you guys did this goosebump moment for us. Like, me and my friends were sitting there watching you guys. Thin Red Line, like, this was like, for volleyball, basketball, this is what got us fired up, And then at one part, the bridge, I think it was, Alan breaks into Cranberries, Zombie.
Oh, yeah, I've heard him do that. And we never know when he's going to do stuff like that. We're going to go, oh, what's that? Yeah.
And so it's just sort of my question is, like, you couldn't have gotten that in the 80s. Like, when Thin Red Line came out, you couldn't have changed it. So,
well, I think that I can attribute that to the fact that we're influenced by the music we listen to on the radio as well. So whether it be stuff that we listened to when we were writing Thin Red Line and Don't Forget Me and Someday, I was into Tears for Fears. I mean, that was the band, right? So when we were in writing mode, I had my collection of Tears for Fears records that I would listen to, and we would cop a feel off of this piece. Oh, I like that groove or whatever. But the Cranberries was something that it just, that's the music in Alan. I mean, wait a minute, I know as a vocalist, he can go, this line works right in the middle of this, and then, and like I said, he never announces when he's going to do stuff like that. He just does it. So, but I think it's kind of cool that it just kind of works. He's done that with a few different songs.
Great.
So.
And just basically, you've made some references to a Canadian band in Mobile. Where do you see, like, there was a period where you guys set the measure, like, you raised the bar for Canadian music. We've got Loverboy here in the house as well. And you guys, like, there was a big moment for Canada. How do you see us now in terms of the music industry and the music world?
I mean, the music industry in itself is going through a huge, metamorphosis. Kind of like the major labels are dying, and the independent labels are getting stronger, and it's a really different landscape than what we did when we got signed in the 80s. Your goal in life was to get a major record label to sign you. Nowadays, they're in a shitter. They're that's a sinking ship.
Yeah.
So it means that you have to be smart and you have to invent new ways. Anybody who makes great content, it's just another vehicle to get it out there. So it used to be for us, the Brass Ring was the major label because that got it to the people.
Yeah.
Well, when you're doing podcasting, you're doing things like there are all these new avenues that weren't available when we did it, and those are the ones that you need to tap into, obviously. And to me, I think the whole thing will wash out. A good band, good music, the content has got to be there. It doesn't matter if the major label model goes away, there'll be another one. The struggle is, of course, is how to make revenue from it, and at least, because if you want to do this as a, it's one thing to be passionate about something, but you also got to, pay your hydro bills and make a few bucks, right? Yeah. So that's the tricky part. Developing a fan base would be really cool, but fine. And what I'm blown away with is, it seems that people in general, and I have teenagers, they understand the fact that there should be some compensation for it. It's just that the old model doesn't work.
Right.
So if they like a band, they'll buy their merch, they'll download their tracks.
Yeah.
I download a ton of stuff off of iTunes, music wise, and I rarely buy a CD anymore. So I'm and it's, but I also know that by buying that, at least somebody's getting paid for that. So.
Right.
It's just it's not an enemy thing, but it's the tough thing for the major labels is there's no sympathy for them because the artists weren't getting paid very much in royalties,
right.
And people were paying a fortune for the CDs, so they're really in no man's land because
right.
Nobody wants to be in their position, right? But on the musician side, it's great when people will buy merch or download your CD or your video or or support you in some other way because if you do that as a profession, you got to make some money somehow.
For sure. Right on. So over the span of your career, what's the highlight moment on the road? What's just the crazy?
It's really hard to nail it down to one.
Yeah.
I mean, there are highlights in the career, especially now looking back. I just watched earlier this year. Watched the Grammys. It was a big deal for us to be nominated for the Grammy. We knew we were going to lose to Bruce Hornsby. It was Bruce Hornsby that was Best New Artist. And it wasn't the fact that we even thought that we had a chance. It's just the fact of being from Canada and sitting in that audience as a nominee
Yeah.
was a huge deal, because that's a big country, and it's hard to make any inroads into the U.S. as an artist, and harder now probably. But you know, and we're very, very proud of the Junos that we won. Certainly, we display them proudly in my studio and things like that. So those are good moments, and those are, you know, I hope we make a new record and we have some success with it. We're going to make it based on the fact that we want to make it. So,
Yeah.
you know, we'll hope for the best, go from there. But you know, we've got tons of stories to tell. I hate to say grandchildren, but that's where it'll end up being. So, but we still got a lot of years in us. We're very strong. Out of all the bands that are around that are from our era, the cool thing that I think is somewhat unique for Glass Tiger is that aside from the drummer that left in 1987, the original drummer, we're the same band.
Right.
Since 1987 till now, you know, we're the same guys. So a lot of bands will come out and it'll be like one guy out of the four,
Right.
and you'll put together a band around them. Doesn't matter if it's a singer, a keyboard player, or whatever, but it's nice when you can get the original members that still can take something and keep it going. So, and that's the position that we're in. So.
And I always hear Bono from U2 talk about it's a lot like the mafia. You know, once you get in, it's like the priesthood. Once you get in, you just can't get out. But that's what you're talking about. That's a real testament to the friendship of Glass Tiger.
We've
So-
always been very close, yeah. And I think as we get older, we get even closer. I mean,
Cool.
because the things we used to get hung up about when we were in our 20s,
Yeah.
we realize now that's not that important. Like internally, like we would fight about certain things that were a huge issue then, and we go, that was stupid. You know, now it's just, you know, we boil down to the basics. You know, we like to come and do a show. We love to see people sing along. We like to travel comfortably. We don't, you know, we're not sleeping in station wagons anymore. We won't do that. So we won't go and play a booking for, you know, for $50 anymore,
Yeah.
just because it just runs you into the ground. So when it all works, we're happy to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem.
Okay. Well, that's great.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right. Yes. Time for a beer.